The We Honor Veterans Program is a program of the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, and VA. It is designed to empower hospice professionals to meet the unique needs of dying veterans. The program teaches respectful inquiry, compassionate listening, and grateful acknowledgement to comfort patients with a history of military service and possibly physical or psychological trauma. The reason the Elizabeth Hospice participates in the We Honor Veterans Program is that it is a privilege to serve those who have served our country. 1 of 4 of our patients are veterans. By becoming a We Honor Veterans partner, the Elizabeth Hospice is better prepared to provide quality care for veterans. America's veterans have done everything asked of them in their mission to serve our country. We are prepared to accompany and guide America's veterans and their families through their life stories toward a more peaceful ending.
What's your favorite story about actually going through the Battle of the Bulge?
That Lou Boasso, he got our platoon together and says, "We're going into action tomorrow," he says. He says, don't, I know you're all gonna be afraid, he says. It's natural, you know. He says, but just keep firing your gun to anything that looks like the enemy, he says, and I'm sure you'll come out all right.
We recognize that effects of military service, good and bad, can continue to resonate throughout a lifetime. Our mission is to learn how to serve veterans through the challenges they may be facing, from illnesses, isolation, or traumatic experiences. We ask veterans questions such as, which branch of military did you serve? In which war era or period of service did you serve? How do you view your experience in the military? If available, would you like your hospice staff or volunteer to have military experience? Are you enrolled in the VA? Each branch of service, each era of service, has its own unique culture, which can dramatically influence the outcome of one's experience. For example, Korean veterans were often told not to discuss their military service and are sometimes overlooked in the discussion regarding the needs of veterans.
I think that most of them, mostly in our society, we value the quiet, silent hero type. And so most veterans that I've encountered have sort of developed this being the silent hero. They don't talk about it and they all think, well, it's something that I did, but it's, you know, nobody cares much anymore.
Our staff have received training on service-related diseases, illnesses, and conditions. They are familiar with the medical needs depending on the war or trauma experienced by the veteran. Our staff have also received specific information and resources related to post-traumatic stress disorder and other psychological needs. Veterans may carry traumatic experiences and illnesses from their military service that present unique challenges at the end of life. Our care is patient-focused. We begin by asking, what do you want? With your guidance, we'll create a plan of care that works for you and your family. Many of our staff are also veterans. Our supportive care team includes physicians uniquely trained in hospice care, nurses expertly trained in pain control and symptom management, hospice aides who assist with personal care, social workers for assistance to resources, spiritual counselors for support, volunteers for friendly visits, and many others whose skills and commitment combine to provide complete 24-hour support system to you and your family. The Elizabeth Hospice offers services to address the specific needs of veterans, such as connecting veterans with local VA staff to provide resources, accessing VA benefits, emotional counseling support for the veteran and their family, Veterans Caring for Veterans volunteer program, bereavement counseling. The Veterans Caring for Veterans volunteer program pairs recruited veteran volunteers with hospice patients who have been identified as veterans. Once paired with hospice patients, veterans volunteers have the unique ability to relate and connect with each patient, thereby creating an environment where life review and healing may occur. All volunteers participate in a 3-day training course, and additional training is offered for veterans that are patient care volunteers for other veterans. Volunteers work directly with patients and families to provide such service as companionship, emotional support, transportation, respite for caregivers.
My name is Mike Denon. I'm a volunteer with the Elizabeth Hospice. I've been a volunteer for 7 years, and I do patient companionship and last watch and respite care. And when we started our Veterans Serving Veterans program, it was something I knew I wanted to be involved in. Being a veteran myself, I was in the Air Force for 4 years and a Vietnam veteran. So when I heard about the program, I knew that somehow I'd be involved.
It is important to match a trained hospice volunteer who's a veteran with a hospice patient who is also a veteran. People who have common life experiences usually begin to trust each other more readily. Veterans can form a camaraderie that can penetrate their civilian social roles. When one veteran talks to another veteran, stoicism and secrecy may dissolve. Vets share common languages, code of conduct, and honor. Sharing supports life review and healing.
It's the fact that we're veterans, there's those common experiences you had in the service, and you have that immediate connection that just builds that relationship with your patient and hospice volunteer.
The reason I think this is so important for veterans to be involved is that it's the old common bond thing. You can have you can volunteer for someone and you can be very successful at it, but it always adds an extra layer to the thing if you have some kind of a common bond. And military people, whether I'm Navy or someone else, we just interviewed this fellow who was Army, we still have the bond of service and loyalty and honor and those sorts of things. And to be able to come in as a healthy volunteer and to bring that amount of camaraderie to someone who is ill, I think is extremely important. And everyone that I've encountered who has been involved in that program has just felt so gratified by it.
Volunteering with hospice patients is incredibly rewarding. Our volunteers profoundly affect the quality of our patients' lives. By volunteering at the Elizabeth Hospice, you can help us play a remarkable and enriching role in the lives of our patients and their families. Our volunteers serve San Diego County. Volunteering will be in your own community.
And there was one veteran, John, who I was his patient companion for. He was on service and then he went off and then he came back on. When he came back on, he asked for the volunteer Mike to be his volunteer again. He enriched my life. I'll always remember John, and I think I enriched his life at the end, added meaning to his life. He was not alone. He had a friend that he could do things with. And being a veteran, we did typical veteran things and talked typical veteran talk, and it was wonderful. And I'll miss John always, and I think it was a special relationship, and I would not have had it if I was not a volunteer with Elizabeth Hospice.
Volunteers participating in the Veterans Caring for Veterans volunteer program also participate in veteran pinning ceremonies with patients as well as veterans residing at senior living facilities. It is important to honor and thank veterans for their service to our country.
They all stood up proudly, I felt, and were happy to be recognized, because some of them probably haven't been recognized in a long time. I think it means a lot to them. I don't know how you quantify that. It doesn't come out in dollars and cents anyplace. But for me, the ability to go do that and to shake hands with another veteran, and it sort of demonstrates the continuity of this.
There was a gentleman, I sat down with him, and we did this pinning ceremony, and I thanked him for his service. And his eyes started tearing up, and he said, "It's so wonderful to be thanked for our service." He says, "Anytime anybody does that to me, it just makes me really feel fulfilled and happy to get that thanks."
If you want to volunteer at the Elizabeth Hospice, it is as simple as picking up the phone and calling our volunteer department, or going online to www.elizabethhospice.org. Our volunteer application is available on our website. The dates for the next quarterly volunteer training are also available on our website.
Volunteering is the heart of my life right now, and it's so rewarding. It really enriches my life. So I would encourage anybody else who's thinking that maybe you might want to volunteer with a hospice organization in a veteran-to-veteran program or whatever role. Go to the training, find out, and listen to the experiences of others. It can enrich your life tremendously.
From the mountains to the prairies.